raving lunatic from January right through this, and I think, it got better, and then it gets worse, and then it gets worse. It's a whole year, right? So it's not pretty. So just over the holidays, so I'm making myself crazy, and I've been doing this now for a few years, and then I'm like, I teach this stuff. I know better. I know how to set aside my ego and let Spirit work through me. I got to get a grip. I was at a holiday party just a little while ago with my family and whatnot, and I looked across the room, and my spouse, who's the happiest person that I know, just doesn't worry about a thing. That's my job in the family. Sitting across the room from me, looking very concerned, kind of like sullen, and she's never sullen. So I said, hey, honey, what's the matter? She's like, I'm just so worried about you. You're working so hard. You're putting so much pressure on yourself. You're just not happy doing this any longer, and I just don't think that's why you set out to do this. It was like the cosmic 2x4, like, oh! It's like, I knew, but I didn't think anybody else could see how much I was suffering, right? And in that moment, it was like I was born again. Because what I couldn't do for myself, I recognized I had to do for those around me. And I really surrendered. I really just surrendered to Spirit and said, God, I'm going to go back to what I know, and that is creating from essence. So there's 5 elements that I distilled in these last few weeks of what it really takes, kind of the battle that I've been in this past year, and the side that brings us to creating a new reality from essence rather than from the lower consciousness of ego. Number 1, and this is so important, pausing for what matters. Taking the time that we need to connect with Divine Mind. How did I get all these great curriculums and these fabulous ideas? I was spending hours and hours in prayer and meditation and journaling, writing, and reading spiritual literature, pausing for what matters, the inner game of what wants to be birthed through us. The second element is that as soon as you do that, right, you pause for what matters, you connect with Divine Mind, you get all these great ideas. If you're anything like me, immediately then all of the ego comes up and why I can't do it and all of the fear. So the second element is you have got to let faith be your guide. Because as soon as you connect with Divine Mind and get divine ideas, your ego will immediately get to work and tell you all of the reasons why that's not a good idea. Immediately. If it doesn't, if your divine ideas aren't scaring you, you probably haven't linked with them yet. That's how you know it's a divine idea. If it scares you enough, you're probably getting close. And then your mind will kick in and give you all of these reasons why you should not, could not, it's not a really good idea. Hold on here, right? So feel the fear, but let faith be your guide. You know when faith kicks in, right? It's about 5 seconds after you've made the leap. And the net appears. But you've got to have the faith to take that step. Do what it is. For me, it was closing that practice, closing my office, calling the HMOs, saying thanks but no thanks, coming off all of those panels. Taking that step of faith. Number 3, and this is the one that's my personal favorite because you can tell I'm a little destination-oriented. I like having a plan. I am a coach. That is, create the divine idea, but then I love in Luke chapter 14, it says, who would build a house without first having a budget, lest he be able to not finish the project and those around him will laugh at him? Well, that was really comforting for me. Thank you very much. It really says that. Luke chapter 14, check it out. Do not start your plan to build your house until you've checked your budget to make sure you can complete the project, because if you don't finish it, those around you will laugh at you. Similarly, you would not go to battle with your troops of 10,000 against those who are the troops of 20,000. So what does that mean? You need to link with Divine Mind, but then be prudent in your planning on the earth plane. Don't leap without a plan. See, this is the joy of being a human being, that we're expressing our divinity through our human capacities. And your human capacities are to build relationships, to think things through, to use your intellect, research and connecting with people. So create a really good plan. Not analysis paralysis, a good plan that keeps you moving forward in faith. Okay? Number 4, the fourth element of creating from essence rather than ego. Again, so important. And that is to really nurture your relationship with God. Nurture your relationship with God. Taking time for prayer. Getting that spiritual guidance. Trusting yourself as you move into new territory. And the 5th one, this has saved my life, the 5th element. Be in the present moment. Because the ego is always about the future or the past. It's either criticizing you for your failures in the past or what you've determined are failures, or what-ifing you about your future. What if this? What if that? What if this? What if that? If you are experiencing that, just bring yourself to the present moment. It's in the present moment that divine ideas can be brought through you. It's in the present moment that you can connect with Spirit and express your God self on earth. So when I get back in that place of like, oh my gosh, this is, I'm going to do this, and I'm so public, and what are they going to think of me, and I just come back to the present. What am I doing right now? What am I doing right now? And in this now moment, I'm fine. There's nothing happening. My house hasn't been foreclosed, and nobody has, thrown me out of their church because they didn't like the talk that I gave. Like, in this now moment, it's fine. So right here, right now, all I'm doing is standing here in this beautiful sanctuary with a lovely group of people talking about something that's really important to me. It's not so bad. I can do this in this now moment, right? So I tell you, as soon as you move on that path towards divine expression, the ego is going to do what the ego does. Your thought world around fear and insecurity is as mechanistic as your heartbeat, your circulation, and your inspiration and expiration of air. It is as mechanistic. It is designed to keep you safe. But when you let that be your driver, it keeps you small. So feeling the fear, but moving forward with faith, being your God self on earth. So I know a lot of you now in January are thinking about the year, you're writing your goals, maybe you already have, or you're thinking about how does God want to express through and as me in the new year 2012. So I want to tell you what God says. God has a plan for you. In Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11, it says, I have a plan for you, says the Lord. Plans for you to prosper and not harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. That's pretty good, if you ask me. Plans for hope and a future. So I hope